Yes, people, what's good? It's Tobes here. Sunny day. I just thought I'd drop a couple words, a couple of nuggets, because I'm generally in a good spot about Spurs. I'm fairly optimistic about what we can do this season under Frank. I'm fairly optimistic about the squad, even with my frustrations in the summer on the gaps that we failed to fill. Yeah, we're in a good spot. But we can be better. We can always be better. It's not been perfect. It's been a good start. It's not been perfect. There are still things we can work on, like our build-up, like our utilisation of certain players, etc., etc. But I want to spend some time to talk on a topic that is very near and dear to me as a Spurs fan. Thomas Frank, so far so good. Looks like a good coach. But there are some non-negotiables that I feel he should be implemented. Just based off observations I've seen in our opening, 6-7 games? PSG, Burnley, Man City, Bournemouth, Villarreal, West Ham, Brighton. So that's 7 games. So we've played 7 games so far this season, and I've noticed a couple of things that I wanna dig into. Yeah. So, my first non-negotiable, Chavy Simmons. You don't have to play him every game, but my goodness, if you're going to play him centrally. Play him centrally. That's where we bought him to influence games for us the most. Yeah, all of this playing off the left, yeah, maybe some games it may warrant it. In emergency situations where we're playing tough games away from home, where you're trying to get your creative players on the pitch, but you want some solidity, I can hear it here and there. But it has to be the exception and not the rule. Listen to what I said. It must be the exception and not the rule. The rule is this guy has to play centrally. He has to play centrally because that's where his best position is. That's where he thrives. That's where we need him to play. We have no Maddison for the rest of the season. We don't have Kulusevski until January at the earliest. These are 2 players who played in that position last season. This season, before he joined, we were rocking up with Pat Matasar in that position. I've even seen him play Bergvall in that position over Simmons at times. Nah, brother, it can't run. Nah, it can't run. I'm sorry, it cannot run. Chavy Simmons, we saw what he can do for Tottenham when he's deployed centrally. What he can do for Tottenham. That's the first time we've seen him play in his natural position for Tottenham. He started against West Ham off the left. It was a respectable debut. He started off the left against Villarreal. I tuned in from second half, but it looked poor from what I saw in the second half. And then he comes off the bench and plays central, and he's literally at the heart of everything. He must play central. That's where we bought him to play. Look at Kudus, for example. Kudus can also play in multiple positions. He was played off the left for West Ham. Wasn't good there. But he can also play central. And yet, where has Frank played him since he's joined the club? Where? Off the right. Because guess what? That's where you bought him to play. That's where he influences the game the most for Tottenham. That's where we need him. So now apply the same logic to Simmons. I get it. Frank is finding his feet. He's still trying to figure out the best team, integrating players. So it's going to take time. However, please lead with this mindset. Chavy must be in the middle. That's my first one. My second non-negotiable, and it's on a left-back position. It's Destiny Udogie. Right? It's Destiny Udogie, sorry. How dare me, I'm Nigerian. But it's Destiny. The non-negotiable is this. When he is fit and available, he must start off the left. Now, that's a big must. Because I remember when Spence was playing there, Spence was good for the majority of the games, and I get it. Jed Spence, he's a very good player. He's solid. He can play both positions. It's good for Destiny to have competition. It's good for someone to keep him honest and keep him on his toes. But let's be serious. When you watch us play, especially considering that all of our left-wing options are right-footed, they have a tendency to come inside. Spence has a tendency to come inside, right? Destiny Udogie, not only is he a very good player, he gives us the most balance on that side. He can come in on the inside, but he can also go on the outside, which is most important. He can receive on his left, he can play out on his left. And he just helps us expand our use of that left-hand side. That's something we can't get as well from Spence. I'm sorry. It's just the reality. So I get it. People want to reward Spence for good performances, but in the end of the day, we also have a very good player, Destiny Udogie, who's actually a left back. This is why it was paramount for me that Spurs signed a left-sided defender, because as much as Jed Spence is solid there, my preference is to see him at right back, not left back. But anyway, that's my second non-negotiable. Destiny Udogie, when he's fit and available, he is the guaranteed starter at left back for me. There shouldn't be any negotiation to it. Which brings me on to my other non-negotiable, which is the right back position. Yeah? Thomas Frank, I get it. You're trying to find creativity, or you're trying to find roots for creativity in the team. I understand it. And Pedro Porro is one of our sources of creativity, as is Romero, as is Simmons, and a few others. But brother, hermano, you do not have to play Pedro Porro every game. Now, Porro hasn't actually been bad this season. I think he's played well in some games. I think he's played poorly in some games. Our most recent game, I thought it's weird. I thought in the 1v1 matchups, he did quite well. But I felt his positioning on our defensive line was a bit suspect. But the point is this. When you have two players like Porro and Spence, it's a horses for courses thing. They're both good right backs. We are fortunate that that's one of the positions where we actually have good depth. They're both good right backs. Yeah? You do not have to play Pedro Porro every game. You don't have to do what Ange did. Yeah? You do not have to do what Ange did. Apologies for the train. Let's class my video. You do not have to play them. You don't have to play Porro every single game. You can rotate. So I'll give you an example, like Bournemouth, for instance. That's a horses for courses thing, yeah? Pedro Porro has his uses when he's playing with the ball, but there's a certain type of winger he can't handle, and that is a Semenyo. In that game, I would have liked to have seen Frank play Spence at right back, and I get it. Destiny was only just coming back from injury. I understand it, but going forward in those games when Destiny's fit and available, please can we consider that you do not have to play Pedro Porro every game. It is okay to rotate. We're fine. We're in safe hands. Spence is solid, and he can also attack as well. Just because Pedro Porro scores more goals and gets more assists does not mean that Spence is some Emerson Royale type player. He's very competent going forward. So yeah, please, Frank, trust in your fullbacks at right back. It doesn't have to be Porro or bust. Now, my next non-negotiable, and the train's coming now, so I'm going to continue. I'm going to start it, and then I'm going to add the rest once I get off the train. But my next non-negotiable, boy. It's on the left-hand side again. My next non-negotiable is this. We now have to trust the youth. Trust the kids. I know it's a tough task for a job like his, where he's under a lot of pressure and he has to go with players who are probably more of a guarantee on paper in terms of output. But you have to trust the youth. We've put ourselves in a position where we have no choice but to. And he's doing it with Bergvall, and Bergvall's rewarding the faith. I think we need to see the same for Archie Gray in the midfield, personally. And I think we need to see the same at left wing for Odegaard and Tell. Now, I'm not saying that these guys should be playing the same amount of games as Bergvall, because ultimately Bergvall is of a higher talent level than these guys right now. But what I'm saying is this: our squad is our squad. We need to rotate. We need to balance playing Champions League football and playing Premier League football. With that being in mind, and also League Cup, and then FA Cup when it starts. With that being in mind,
service for London Liverpool Street.
Let me take a quick intermission. Yeah. With that being in mind, you have to use some of these players.
The next stop will be Ponders End.
You have to use some of these players. Sorry, I'm just baiting out my location. You have to use some of these players because in the end of the day, they have to get minutes. How will we know if they're good enough if they don't play? Do you get what I'm saying? And in some cases, they help us with the balance of our team. So like, I'm not even a huge Archie Gray fan like that. I think he's a good prospect, but if I'm being honest, I don't really know. I can't say with certainty where his future lies long term at Tottenham. I can't say that, but I need to see him play, because on flashes, I think there's the bones of
We
a
are
good
now
player,
approaching
a technical
Ponder's
player.
End.
But I've also seen games where he's been underwhelming. However, I need to see him play a reasonable amount of minutes in the midfield. There have been games this season where you could have brought him on. You didn't have to play the stodgy double pivot that you played.
No, I didn't go yesterday.
Didn't. You could put Bergvall on the 8. You could put Gray in the 8. On the left wing. Like, we've seen how poor Brennan Johnson is. I get it. He scores more goals than Odegaard and Tell. But fundamentally, as a footballer, he limits Tottenham so much when he plays on the flanks. Nothing comes of it. No ball retention, no dribbling, no 1v1, no chance creation. Nothing comes of it apart from runs into the box and goals. And I know it sounds cheeky saying that, but it's just watch the games. Just watch the games.
This is the service to
Use
London
Odegaard.
Liverpool Street.
He combined well with
Tottenham
Destiny
Hale.
against Brighton. Okay, he didn't score. Okay, he's not showing himself to be a goal threat or an assist threat, but he needs minutes. At least he's got technical base that we can work with. Tell, he's got a decent technical base we can work with. He can cut inside. He can shoot with both feet. Can we get some of these players on the pitch instead of Brennan Johnson on left hand side? And even if you don't trust him, isn't it better to at least put a player who's more familiar with, on the left wing, in the left wing, and then leave the likes of Chavy in the 10 and Kudus off the right? I'd rather two players in their firm, fixed, best positions, and then the left wing. Okay, cool. It's not your ideal choice, but it's a choice that you can accommodate at the expense of others in the squad. So that's where I am. Trust the youth a bit more. Sink or swim. We need to find out. We need to know. It's not nothing personal. We need to know.
Welcome to this service
And-
for London Liverpool Street.
Okay.
We will be calling at Tottenham Hale, Hackney Downs, and London Liverpool Street.
Oh, God. Anyway, my last point, and it brings me onto an option that he's used at the left wing. Please use Brennan Johnson sparingly. Please.
The next stop will
Please use
be
Brennan Johnson
Tottenham Hale.
sparingly. He's not good enough for this football club. I'm sorry.
Change
I've been
for
saying it.
Victoria Line.
He's not good enough. You watch him play, he's invisible for 95% of the game. He brings no sort of discernible quality outside of the box. It's all good and well making your runs into the box. I appreciate the goals, but unfortunately, it comes at a detriment to the football club, because we have someone who, whichever flank he plays, completely kills any sort of momentum we can build on that flank, because fundamentally he's not someone who can return the ball under pressure. He's not someone who can receive the ball well. He's not someone who can dribble with the ball. He's not someone who can create chances. He's not someone who can take on a man 1v1. He offers us nothing outside the box, and yet that's where he plays for the majority of the game. So is it really worth starting this guy for 85 minutes for that 1 minute where he poaches? Or you could just keep him on the bench, bring him on when the game is stretched and there's space and it looks like we're able to create chances. This is all about balance. People say I have agenda. No, I have eyes. He's not good enough for Tottenham. If I had it my way, I would sell him. But we haven't sold him. We've kept him. There's a use for him because he does score goals. There's a certain game state where maybe he is useful. So use him in those sparing moments, in those game states. Otherwise, keep him on the bench and bring him on off the bench. Let the balance of the team come before your perceived notion of what he offers in comparison to others. Because in the end of the day, those goals still doesn't mask the horrendous detrimental impact that he has on our overall team's ability to play on whichever flank he's on. So that's me. Those are my non-negotiables for Frank at this point in time. We're going to check in a couple of weeks and see if anything else has been added. But let me know your thoughts, people.